let us continue our discussion about human variation. Last meeting, we discussed the 4 human variation, which are race, ethnicity, nationality, and gender. So let us discuss the remaining human variation. Human variations are our identities which are valid due to the variance in our environment and culture. And our identities or our differences are a social fact that must be understood and accepted. Always remember that though we have differences, we must treat each other equally or love each other with no labels, because our differences is not a basis of our abilities and ways of living in our life. Another human variation is socioeconomic class. When we say socioeconomic class, it determines social stratification class of humans from being poor to being rich. Way back in our history, we do not use this word. What we have is social class. For example, during Spanish period here in the Philippines, we classified Filipinos or our society into 3 categories: upper class, middle class, and lower class. When we say upper class, it includes or composed of the leaders. For example, we have datu or priest. And when we say middle class during Spanish period, it is also determined as merchants or landowners or those people who have business. And lastly, lower class, it includes slaves. Here in the Philippines, it can be classified into 2. We have alipin sa gigilid and aliping namamahay. But today, wala na tayong datu, maharlika, or alipin. What we have today is the word or the term socioeconomic class. And socioeconomic class can be classified or can be based on our monthly income. This data from the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, it shows that socioeconomic class of humans can be classified in several income clusters. So based on our data here, that a family of 5 can be classified as poor if they have a monthly income less than 10,481 pesos. While you are classified as middle income class if your monthly income is between 41,924 pesos to 73,367 pesos. And you are classified as rich people or rich class if you earn every month with 209,620 pesos and above. This data help us to determine the average or the rate of poor family or people here in the Philippines and the average or rate of the rich family or class in the Philippines. At ito rin yung reason or the determinants on how to classify our country based on the third or first world country. Kung gaano kadami ang may hirap at may yaman sa bansa. Let's go now with another human variation. Another is our political identity. This is also known as our ideology, or in other words, political views or worldview. It refers to our set of attitudes attributes pertaining to our practices or our political system, and it is related to the different political actors. Here in the Philippines, we have a lot accommodating ideologies or political identity. Ito yung mga sinasabi nating Dilawan, DDS, and a lot of political party. So this topic, we will elaborate this kapag pupunta na tayo sa politics. This is only an overview. Another human variation is our exemptionality. When we say exceptionality, those people who are exceptionals wherein they have a disability, and those people also who have an extra geniuses or extreme geniuses. One of the challenges in our society is these attributes, wherein some people are exceptional when it comes to their behavior, to their physical attributes, to their communication, and their intelligence. And we must compromise this thing in our society and support exceptionalities of individual. Another human variation, cultural variation, is a social concept that we must promote and preserve in our society, because culture helps us to develop our values in our society. And one of the conceptual tools to develop our or to preserve our cultural variation is our cultural relativism. Cultural relativism promotes the perspective that culture must be understood in the context of their locality. And by the use of this perspective, makes you tolerant of the differing attitudes and practices of others. Culture is an elusive term. Napakalawak siya. So later on, we will elaborate this human variation. And this is the last human variation that we are going to discuss as social being, our religion. Religion has a big impact to our life. And when we say religion, this is an organized system of belief, or it can be rituals or practices within your religion which used to worship a god or a group of gods. An organized system. So let us see what are those organized system of beliefs. So we have a different types of religious beliefs based on their practices or ceremonies. The most common type of religious belief is monotheism. Monotheism is a system of belief which a person believing in the existing or the existence of one God. A good example of monotheism is Christianism, Islam, and Judaism. Christianism, from the word itself, those people who believe in Christ or Christian, kung tawagin nga po natin. And their God, we call it as God or Ama. We have different sects of Christianism or sekta, kung tawagin nga po natin. We have Catholic or Roman Catholic, Iglesia ni Cristo here in the Philippines. Another is Christian or born again. So actually, hindi yun talaga ang pinaka-primary religion, but there are only a sect of Christianism. So our primary religion is Christianism. And we are all Christians. Catholic, Iglesia ni Cristo, born again, we are all Christian. because we believe in Christ. Another is Islam. So when we say Islam, those people who believe in Allah. Yan. They called it and they pronounce it as Allah. So, people, ang tawag natin sa kanila is mga Muslim or Muslim. And another is Judaism. So, Judaism believe in Yahweh. Ayan, those people, we call it as Jews or mga Hudyo. Okay, another type of religious belief is the opposite of monotheism, which is polytheism. Polytheism, from the word itself, poly means many, or believing in the existence of multiple gods. What are the examples? We have Hinduism. Hindu believing in 3 gods. They have Brahma or Brahman, the creator, Shiva, the destroyer, and Vishnu, the preserver. Or they believe in the cycle of life. And another example, we have the ancient Greeks or the ancient gods and goddesses. Same also with Romans and Egyptians. Another type of belief is agnosticism. Agnosticism or skepticism is a belief which a person who is not committed to believing in either the existence or the non-existence of God. For example, most of the people are born with their religion because of their parents. But if we are going to talk the practices of their religion, some of the people are not executing their practice or religious beliefs. That is why it tends to doubt their believing or their beliefs in God. For example, you are a Catholic, but you don't know any saints. You don't know how to use rosary or sign of the cross. And it leads to doubting also the existence of God. Or nalilito tayo kapag may Diyos nga ba or wala po ba? Or questionin natin na may Diyos nga ba pero hindi naman natin nakikita. Something like that. So another type of religious belief is atheism. Atheism is a disbelief or lack of belief in the existence of a god or any gods. Meaning, wala sinasamba or pinaniniwala ang Diyos. And atheism is different from satanic or antichrist because those are opposing other beliefs. But when we say atheism, kahit si Satan is hindi naman nila ginagawang Diyos or they are not opposing other beliefs. And take note of that. Let us remove that stigma. Another is animism. Animism, we have this in the Philippines way back during or before the Spanish colonization in our country. Animism is a religious belief that possesses a distinct spiritual essence and perceives all things such as rocks, plants, and also or other parts of our nature. So, therefore, sumasamba sa Anito or Anita, the god of sun, the god of rocks, or plants, or maybe animals. And that is animism. And different religious beliefs can also created a different social issues or religious issues in our society. That some individuals may experience persecution or discrimination as a result of their belief system. To our family, to our friends. A good example of this is one of the series in Netflix, which is Elite. In In that movie, there is a Muslim family wherein it shows that they are conservative and preserving religious practices. And that religious practices sometimes can cause conflict to our society. For example, when Nadia, a Muslim lady, has a conflict between the rules and regulations of her school, because in her religion or in Islam, they need to wear a hijab, while in her school, that is prohibited. So ngayon, ano na ang susundin mo? Is it your religious beliefs or the rules and policy of your school? Same also, it can affects our intimate relationships or to your partners. Sometimes, may mga religion na hindi pa pwede kang makipag-relationship from the other religion or those people who have other religion or religious beliefs. And that is one of the conflict also to our society. Another is to our society. A good example of this is ISIS. So when we see ISIS, stands for Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. But we have our stigma in our society that Muslim is an ISIS, or we classify that Muslim is automatically part of an ISIS group or a terrorist group. But that stigma is absolutely wrong. It is because not all Muslims are terrorists and not all terrorists are Muslim. And always remember that ISIS is not a religion and it's not really defining the religion of Islam. It is because terrorism or ISIS is an ideology. And let us take note of this, that when we say Muslim or Islam, they are the aggressive or the most or the worst type of religion in our society. But of course, no. It's a no that Islam defining terrorism.